Back with Stuart James. He is the executive director of the Ability Center of Greater Toledo. One of your stated goals is to change how people view disability. What do you mean by that?
I think there's still a lot of stigmas. I think a lot of movements have done a great job, and it's not just disability. It might be civil rights, it might be sexual orientation, religion. They do a great job of changing the law, and that's part one. They don't do a great job of the second part, which is changing people's hearts and minds, the
Mm.
perception they have of an individual because of the way they look or their religious belief or what have you. And I think that's especially true in disability. And so we don't realize when we look at a person with a disability, you see a person with a disability, and you're not necessarily seeing a parent, or you're
Mm.
seeing a consumer, or an employer or employee. And so that's the part that needs to change.
Okay, from a societal point of view. And Stuart James, you want people who have disabilities to change some things as well, don't you? Starting with their own expectations of themselves.
Totally. I think sometimes people with disabilities allow society to dictate who they are. And when I talk to kids, or especially kids, I ask them, I'm not so concerned about what they think they can do and what they think they can't do. What I really want to know is, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And let's figure it out. I worked in professional sports for 20 plus years. Very few people get to the NFL, but parents spend thousands of dollars putting kids through camps, uniforms, leagues, insurance. The kid has no shot, can't even run. But that doesn't stop them from allowing that child to dream. But when children have disabilities, suddenly everyone thinks you have to be practical. You
Mm.
shouldn't think about these grand ideas because it's not going to happen for you.
Yeah.
And we got to get out of that. Dreams are dreams. You may not get to be an astronaut if you have cerebral palsy, but very few people get to be astronauts.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't try to go down that road. And along the way, you might find something that fits you. You'll find your lane,
Uh,
but you got to be allowed the space to try.
uh,
You also have to be allowed the space to fail.
in short, Stuart James wants all of us, people with disabilities, people who don't have disabilities, to think differently. That's a new initiative coming this summer, and I wanted to talk about it, but we're out of time for today. If you will come back on, because you got a big date coming, July 12th, we'll talk about it when that time rolls around. Okay, Stuart?
We do. July 12th, we're going to launch our Think Differently campaign.
Uh,
And it's getting people to think differently about those with disabilities, realizing all those things I mentioned earlier, parents and employers
Right.
and consumers, but also realizing for people with disabilities that the world is open to them, that they should be allowed the space to dream.
Uh,
And for those who've acquired disabilities at a later stage in life, that all those aspirations they had prior to their disability um, still exist. They
okay.
may look different, but all those things still exist.
Well, let's talk
And
again as
the
July
Ability
12th.
Center is here to help you with that.
Let's talk again as July 12th gets closer. In the meantime, it's a pleasure to meet you and to introduce you to my audience here on Leading Edge. He is Stuart James, the Ability Center. Going to take a break. We'll be back with the brand new athletic director at the University of Toledo next on Leading Edge.